Islam family. So look, I uh I had to stop for a second because I couldn't get my levels right. I couldn't get my levels right. I couldn't get my angles right. So I got my angles right. I'm about to go up in here. Sister Dana Marnichi, she's going in. I probably missed about 15 minutes of it. I asked everybody to share this. Let's go in and see what we got here. But let's look what's going on. We got Moors here, talking right here. That's my elder over there, Suadel. He talked to the security. Look at Suadel. That's my brother there. So let this. Anyway, we gonna walk in real quick. Let's go in and check out this Dana Marnichi presentation. It's coming right now. I'm gonna go up in here and check it out. Look where we at. Buffalo Soldiers Great Hall. We're gonna check out Sister Dana Marnichi. Let's go. We gotta go in this way, I think. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Let's go check it out.
Okay. So Genesis 34 describes the Hivites ruling the region of Shechem. So the Shechemites, whenever you hear the word Shechemite, Hivite, Canaanite, all those are the same people called Sulaim. In medieval times, by medieval times, they were called Sulaim bin Mansur and Hawazin bin Mansur. So their towns for them were Gibeon, and Canaan, or Gabal, and remember, we're talking about an area south of.
Hold on, let me fix my camera.
Syria, because that was the interpretation of ancient writings. Ancient Semitic writings. The only Semites at that time were black Semites. So Shechem was the son of Manasseh, son of Joseph. So another group of the Sulaim were called the Arabian Valley, who became known as Ephraim, or Ephraim. He was like, I think, the twin of Manasseh, or brother of Manasseh. And the biblical Ephraim, so these Cannanites were supposed to have settled in the Troglodyte area of Africa, which is now called Somaliland, and the Horn of Africa.
Hold on, family.
And then later on, as Joseph has said, they moved across North Africa, became known as Asurim or Assyrian.
These for all those that really want to learn.
Were largely Tuareg people. You find also the Tuareg were named Beni Ifrin. You know what the Tuareg were? Oh, sorry. So the Tuareg were the tall, camel-riding people with wearing veils. I'm sorry, because it's all mixed with people. Some people know a lot about it, and some people I see don't. The Tuareg are one of the people called Berbers, aside from the Songhai and Kanuri. The Tuareg wear the veils and are considered very treacherous people because they used to raid everybody, all the settled or agricultural type people. And they also had a vassal caste that they used called the Songhai. So the Songhai were the people in West Africa that built a lot of these civilizations, while the Tuareg were the protectors, or the Simran. So in Semitic culture, you had Simran, which referred to the husbandmen, or Bedouin husbandmen, people that took caretakers of the agricultural people. And the Ham referred to people that were the miners and agriculturalists. That's all that meant. It didn't have to do with, black, yellow, and white. The only people mentioned in Genesis are the people I'm talking about now, which were black Afro-Asiatic people, black-skinned Afro-Asiatic people. Okay, so if you look in the book of Judges, they say the roots are in Amalek. That's why the Tuareg, in some colonial texts, they say that the Tuareg were called Amalekites and Philistines because they're also very tall. The true Tuareg are over 7 feet tall. Yeah, and that's small compared to what they were because they're mixing with other people, European people, because they were great slave traders, and also other Africans. further south that were taken as slaves by peoples of this northern Sudan, or the Muslims. Okay, so is everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to go, I think I should skip it. Anyway, so the name Pharaoh, or Pharaoh, comes from this word, Ephron, because originally Masri and Canaan were all places in Arabia, not in modern-day Egypt. So we shouldn't confuse what the Masri of the Torah with modern Egypt. For the most part, they were talking about the people called Masri in Arabia, who are still there now. Some of them are still there now. So, and their leader, like I said, was called Ephron or Pharaoh, the Amalekite. Okay, so this is Nabatea. So Nabatea became one of those words that was used for black-skinned people. They were just called the Nabit. Most Arabs in North Arabia in the 12th century were just called Nabit or Kedar or Kudar. They just simply came to mean the black people because they were different from the Syrians and the Persians and the Greeks or Byzantines that were kind of came against them. Fortunately, I think I must have, oh, here we go, down further, okay. So, here's an early picture of an early Kindite of the 4th century BC. This is where a lot of the early culture of the Arabs also was found before Christ. And they were made from the Manu, Kalb, and Saleh, or in the Torah it's called Sheila, and Kalb is called Caleb. So those were the earliest judges of Israel, if you know the Torah. Okay, I'm going to have to skip this guy because I have a feeling people aren't familiar with the Bible as much familiar as I am. If you are, I mean, some people look like they're not, I don't know, keeping up. We're not interested.
It's very interesting. That's right.
No, go do that.
All right, among the, so, Nabit and Ken are names for the black man, or black-skinned man, literally. Originally, they were names of gods, though, like Nebo was the god Mercury. Kenar was Kuthar, a Phoenician god, because Phoenicians are Nabateans. Phoenicians are Nabatean, by the way. So this is a lot of information to take in, and I would just suggest that you try to go to my blog spot to understand what I'm saying in this video. So do you guys know Lachman?
Yes.
So Lukman was actually later called Esau because he's literally, but in the Torah he's called Balaam, and he was related to the Edomites, and he worked for the Moabite. And at that time they were down there in southern Arabia. So I think it was Lachman that sent Caleb and other people to spy out Canaan before they moved north, which was to the Hijaz, south of Mecca. So these people were called Tabud or Duma, or the second Adites. And the Adites were people, like I said, down in further south in the Hajamat area of Yemen, very far down in Yemen. And that's where all these people, Phoenicians, all these so-called Semitic people actually originated. When Herodotus said that the Phoenicians came from the Red Sea, he was talking about the Eritrean Sea, next to Eritrea, Ethiopia, that area. So, let's see. So also Al-Damashki in the, I think he was 12th century or 13th century, said that Nabi was the synonym for black man. He actually said, he wrote a chapter called The Cause of the Black Complexions as the people along the coast that are lighter skinned, but in the medieval times, there were still a lot of the original Berbers that were very buried, as they called themselves, left. And that's why they're usually included among the Arabic writers as, like the Syrians and all those people, as black skinned people.
Okay.
The Berbers and the Nabateans. They spoke a dialect in their times. After they became Phoenician, they started speaking Arabian, or they developed that language, Arabian.
Jesus spoke.
Well, yeah, that's what Jesus was, probably. So the Assyrians used the name Amaru for them, Amaru. That's again the term for the Phoenicians or Canaanite people. So all these people I'm talking about, Canaanites, Phoenicians, the Israelites, they're all coming from that area of Hijaz, between Hijaz and Jordan. They're not talking about Israel, or modern day Israel. The ancient Israel was in the area called Assyria. Yeah. And not, so that's a big controversy that's going on, because as I had said in other videos, that a lot of people can't find out where the Exodus occurred and where the, all these people went, where all these tribes is considered lost.
Right.
And actually what happened is there's a man called Amalekites who identified all the villages of Israel in the Assyria region going towards the Yemen, extending towards the Yemen. And the Wadi Canaan region down there was also part of Canaan. So you'll find a lot of the names of those people in that area of Arabia, right across from Sudan and Eritrea, Ethiopia, that area. So these are the early Umayyads, or the early direct descendants of the prophet's people, the Quraysh. It's because it's so early, the Byzantines did it, and they tend to show the Arabs as they were. Okay. The early Arabians as they were. So here you see that this picture painted by the Byzantines of an early Umayyad ruler and his people. And I just put here that Al-Hakami, I forget where he was from, but he was the conquest of Egypt. And when he went in there, he said, so the quickly haired people of the Black Earth, or the Copts, were special to us because they're like our ancestor Hagar, also called Keturah.
Okay.
So Al-Makrizi is the one that said, know that the land of Egypt, when the Muslim, meaning the Muslims, entered it, was full of Christians. Oops, I'm trying to...
Take your time.
Okay, it was full of Christians, but divided among themselves into two sects, both as to race and to religion. The one part was made up of men about the court and public affairs, all Greek, from among the soldiers of Constantinople, the seat of the government of Rome. So that's the Byzantine Empire he's talking about.
Okay.
Their views as well as their religion were, for all of them, Melkite, and their number was above 300,000, all Greeks. The other portion was the whole of Egypt, who were called Kipt, and were of mixed descent, among whom one could not distinguish Copt from Abyssinian, Nubian, or Israelite. And they were all Jacobites. And then he goes on to say how at that time these people, Greeks and then the Copts, who were made up of the Abyssinians, Israelites, and other people in Egypt, the darker skinned people were at war with each other and murdering each other. They didn't get along. But now in Egypt, of course, you don't see many people that are Copts that are dark skinned, right? I don't know if you're familiar with that. So this is another painting I found from Estonia, portraying the Saracens, or the people from Arabia, being saved by white angels or European angels. So there's I think this was St. George, I forget the name of the painting. And the Saracens, you see their heads, they fell into the water. This picture when I first saw it was very strange. So Estonia is in Eastern Europe. And that's how they perceive the Arabs at that time. So if you go into Eastern Europe, a lot of places, and if you go into Russia, or even in Hebrew, the word Arab means what? The black man. The word Arab means the black man. So, so in fact, like I had read that the NBA players that go there were, you know, the people would run up to them and say, oh, the original Arab, the true Arabs. So they know, but so this was probably one of the earliest portrayals of an Arabian woman, because the Hyksos that invaded Egypt were actually kind of Amalekite-related Semite people. And this is a group of people in southern, just in general for the darker skinned people in Oman and parts of Yemen. They're Mamara, but they speak the Sabian dialects, so the early Himyaritic and Sabian dialects. So pre-Arabian dialects. That's what's special about them, and they practice this pre-Arabian culture. A lot of the culture is related to the East African culture. Like the way they treat their cattle, that kind of thing. You know, and women too is different. So here's just to demonstrate how things have changed in Arabia and elsewhere. In the 19th century, the last century, has anybody been to Medina? No?
Not yet.
We gotta go over there. But I met somebody that went over there, and they said that there's, like, they didn't see almost any black skinned people or dark people. But this is the 19th century. Turco-Egyptian man named Muhammad Sadiq. He was a photographer too, I think. And he wrote and this is an Aramco article. They were a dark, almost black complexion, although some were light skinned, almost white. Okay, so that was written, but now, actually the Hijaz, according to colonialists, has been inundated with foreigners. So all that region back to Medina has a lot of foreigners, including Africans now have settled back there. Al-Waqidi said, spoke of the early conquest of, Futa al-Misra, conquest of Egypt. He had said that the Ansar, or the companions of companions of the Prophet, were black giants called Khazraj. A lot of them were, giants. The Khazraj, especially in the Aus, who came from the Banu Azd, and they were called Kala, just like the people in so-called Falasha who debated Israel and Ethiopia, because they came from the same area. So he wrote that Ubada bin Saleh, one of the leaders, commanders, said to the Byzantine ruler there in Egypt, he said, get this black man away from me. He's scaring me because he's so black and so tall. He said, Ubada said, I have heard your speech. Among those I command are 1,000 men, all of them black, everyone blacker than I, and more hideous to look at. And he threatened with bringing them back from Hijaz. So that whole area of Hijaz, Mecca, Medina, Jeddah, where the Prophet is called the Haram, the holy area, where Muhammad the Prophet was born. That whole area was still, in that period, occupied by people that were Asiatics. And let's see, here's a few 13th century or Chinese documents. In the Song Dynasty, it said the men had long noses, they are black, have beards. They look like the Indian Polo one. And one of the admirals or generals of Zenhai, Mahwan, he wrote about the people of Mecca. Between Mecca and Jeddah, I think it was over 300 kilometers, their limbs and faces were very dark purple in color. Yeah. So here, when I think of that, this kind of suggests our purple. But anyway, so the people in Malabar as well, which is southern India, were also described as purple, not dark purple, but purple. So you get an impression of what the Arabs looked like at that time. And here, of course, in Arabia, you see Yemen is like right across from the Horn of Africa, where the Somalis and the Beja and all the so-called Cushitic speakers are, because they're actually from that area. They came back into Africa with an Arab people. So just some more things, documents, texts about the Arab appearance, okay? Of Cordoba, in the 10th century, said a fair-skinned Arab is something inconceivable. Or he said that a judge in Yemen from the Madij tribe said that a fair-skinned Arab is something inconceivable. So he said that in the 8th or 7th century, the 7th century. Yeah, and also as rare as one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Wow.
At that time, Yemen and the Najd and the Hijaz, or Central Arabia and the Western Arabia, were considered part of Sudan.
That's right.
Iraq and Sudan.
That's right.
Land of Sudan. So also you should get a little book called The Unknown Arabs by Tariq Barry. And a lot of these actually phrases come from his books or his posting. So he said, so Ibn Mandur wrote these al-Arab, meaning like the Arab lessons or Arab grammar, the way the Arabs, speak. Most Arabs are dark brown in color, and light hair is the hair that most non-Arabs, Persians and Romans have, while kinky hair is the hair that most Arabs have. Okay, so that's 13th century. In the same thing, Ibn Mandur said, the Arabs describe their color as black, and they describe the color of the non-Arabs, like the Persians, as red. And ahmar, like I said, that's where that word red means, hamar or ahmar, which was related to ham. And so in their language, to say, let's see, so ahmar or hamar, red, in the speech of the people from Hijaz means fair complexion. And this color is rare amongst the Arabs. This is the meaning of the saying, a red man, as if he is one of the slaves.
Wow.
Now that's from the Sierra Al-Ramabala of Al-Dahabi. 14th century, that's 600 years ago, right? It wasn't that long ago. So here's the Beja that Ibn Hakul, 10th century, actually born in Turkey, compared to the Arabs. The Arabs' Asian color was the same. They had from very black to what's called biad, right here. Biad means white. This is the color white was. It's kind of a dark, wheatish or black buckwheat color. So that's why when you go to Africa, sometimes they'll call you white. You ever hear that? Remember that? Who's the comic that said he went over to Africa and they thought he was Italian or something? What's his name? I'm getting old. You guys are probably supposed to be younger than me. Ibn Jawzi of Baghdad, 12th century, used the word Sumer. As I said, Sumer